So sitting comfortably, just beginning with a nice big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So eyes open, a soft focus. As you breathe out, you can allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm. But just keep the eyes open for a moment. Just focusing in on one particular object within your field of vision. Not staring at it too intently, still aware of the space around you. But just gently focusing on that one object. And then just slowly zooming back out again as you blink a few times with the eyes.
And as we begin our collective worship, we light our candle. What did Jesus say? Good morning, everyone. So this week in collective worship, we've been learning about failure and success. Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, bumpy ride. This is called rally driving. Hold on, I'm coming to a bump. In rally driving, there are two people in the car, the driver and the navigator. The navigator helps the driver by watching out for twists and turns in the road. We all need help. It's important to ask for help, and it's important to accept help too.
It looks like you have a question. Sam, did you understand what the teacher was saying? It's okay if you don't understand, but it's important that you decide to ask her for help. She will be able to help you understand it. Most people need extra help with difficult subjects, or when they have a different learning style from the way the material is presented. You just need the courage to ask. Here's how these students got the courage to ask for help.
If you need help in school, my advice would be to definitely project yourself and ask questions. It's never okay to not understand and let yourself be confused about something, because you need to understand and you need to know.
Asking questions improved my grades because when I was unsure and I raised my hand and asked, my teacher would verify my answer, and so I knew what I was doing right or wrong.
Before the class, read the chapter ahead of time. That way when you're in class, you're going to know exactly what the teacher's already talking about. And if you were confused at first, you can ask your teacher specifically, what is this? And you don't have to wait to the day of the test when you're going to get that grade and just, it's not going to be what you want it to be.
Never be scared to ask for help. I ask my friends for help. I ask my teachers for help. I ask my principal for help. I ask my dean for help. I ask everyone for help.
Just remember, it's up to you to choose to get help. You have to decide to overcome your fear and ask for help. No one will know you need it unless you ask. And there is nothing to be embarrassed about. It will only help you.
Asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. Asking for help shows that you have the courage to admit that you don't know something, and the courage to learn something new. Asking for help or accepting help is a strength.
Do you know how we get fulfillment? You can be happy because you did things at work. You can be proud because you did things at work. You can be excited because you had a big success at work. But you know how you feel fulfilled at work? When you do something for someone else. It's the only way we get that feeling. It's the only way we get that feeling. Do you know why the statistics say that over 90% of people don't feel fulfilled by the work they do? It's not because of the job, it's not because of the pay, it's not because of the benefits. It's because we don't help each other anymore. We sit in our cubes and we work. And anything that we turn to anybody is because we need something, we need to get something. And yet we don't put ourselves out there simply for no other reason than to help somebody else. Do you know what generosity is? Generosity is doing something for someone else expecting nothing in return. At no point ever. I did something for him, why won't he help me? It's not an equation. It's designed to help you feel good. And Mother Nature has given us this feeling when we do something for someone else to encourage us to do it. Because when we are in groups, when we are surrounded by people who believe what we believe, trust emerges and our very survival and progress goes up. Do you ever watch Deadliest Catch on the Discovery Channel? I was flipping through the channels one night and Deadliest Catch came on. And on this episode, they were in a huge storm. Now, for those of you who don't know Deadliest Catch, they take these crab fishing boats out in the Bering Sea, which is like terrible. And they put cameras on them and we watch, right? The reason that's, I guess, significant is because these crab fishermen have, I think, one of the top 5 deadliest jobs in the world. You know, I don't know what the exact number is, but dozens of fishermen die every year doing this. We apparently find that entertaining, which it actually is. So they have cameras only on 5 or 6 of the ships, even though there are many, many, many ships that go out fishing every season, and they don't really come into proximity with each other because, you know, the ocean's huge, and they usually sabotage each other and give each other false information because they're all competitors. They're all looking to get the crabs and, you know, make sure that they find them and somebody else doesn't. And yeah, it's business, right? It's just business. It's okay. We all do the same thing in our own companies. And in this one episode, this big, huge storm was so violent that they had to bring all the pots, which are the big cages that they catch the crabs in. They had to bring all the pots back on the boat and wait out the storm. And just by dumb luck, one of the boats that had cameras on it was in proximity of a boat that didn't have cameras on it. And so they filmed, they had secured all their pots on the deck, and so they started filming the other boat. And they filmed a guy climbing on the outside of the cage, securing the pots. And all of a sudden, a huge wave hits the side of the boat, and the guy's not there anymore. And the people on the boat with the cameras start screaming, "Man overboard, man overboard, man overboard." And they turn their boat towards where they think he might be. He's a stranger, they don't know him, they don't know the crew members of the other boat, and yet they react. And they turn towards him. And they find him in the drink. And for those of you who don't understand how dangerous this is, if the water is so cold that if you're in the water for, I think that it's a minute or a minute 30, hypothermia will set in and you die. And they come upon him, and he's screaming, "Don't let me die, don't let me die." And they pull him on board, not out of the woods yet. They strip off his clothes, because it's wet and cold, and they wrap blankets around him to prevent hypothermia from setting in. And he survives. And it's overwhelming. And the captain comes down, and this is all on, I mean, you can go watch it on TV. The captain comes down, and he hugs this stranger, this young man, his competitor. He hugs this guy as if he's his own son. I lost it. Everybody is crying. And you realize what happened here was a human interaction. And the reason that they risk their own lives to help this other person, even though they spend every other day trying to get ahead and sabotage, is because at the end of the day, they're all crab fishermen. And they know something about each other. And they know something about the risk that they all take to do this. And when push comes to shove, they will put themselves out there to help each other for no other reason than they get it. They're one and the same. I will promise you that every single member of that crew that day went home with a feeling of fulfillment. I promise you that every single person on that crew that day felt more good in their hearts and in their jobs than the richest days that they've ever pulled in. My question is what are you doing to help the person next to you? Don't you want to wake up and go to work for the only reason that you can do something good for someone else? Wouldn't you want them to do that for you?
And that reminds me of this passage from the Bible, from Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. And if you'd like this prayer to be your prayer, it's Amen at the end. You're welcome to look at the candle flame, or you can put your hands and your eyes together. Lord, help me to see failure as steps to success. Give me the strength to keep going when I find things tough. And help me see opportunities to help other people. Amen. And that concludes our collective worship for today. I'm just going to pull the car to a stop so that I can finish collective worship for you all. Hang on a minute. Okay, I've come to a stop. Remember, work hard, be kind, look after yourselves, and I'll see you around school. Car appears to be upside down.